Welcome to Sexy in Your 60s. This is a space for women 50 and beyond who are choosing to live with vitality, intention, and joy in this chapter of life and the ones ahead of us. I'm your host, Dvora Citron, registered nurse, National Board Certified Health and Wellbeing Coach, and Plant Strong Advocate. On this podcast, we explore what truly helps women thrive in midlife and beyond through evidence-based health insights, real stories, practical strategies, and the deeper sense of meaning that makes life feel rich and connected. I intentionally chose the title Sexy in Your 60s. When I use the word sexy, I'm not talking about sexuality or how we're seen. I'm talking about energy, confidence, presence, curiosity, purpose. Sexy is how you feel in your body. Sexy is how you move through the world. Sexy is knowing who you are and choosing how you want to show up. I believe this stage of life is not about winding down. It's about waking up. Not in your 60s? You're still invited to join us. Each episode is designed to support you, not just in how you live, but in how you feel in your body, your relationships, and your life. I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin. Today's episode is about music, singing, and vibrant aging. Before I bring in today's guest, I want to highlight a few powerful research findings about music and especially singing, because they speak directly to how we age vibrantly, joyfully, and connected. Research from Oxford shows that singing in a group bonds people faster than conversation alone. Within minutes, oxytocin, our trust and connection hormone, rises, and singers report feeling more open, relaxed, and emotionally attuned to others. A 2024 randomized trial also found that singing just twice a week improves lung capacity, respiratory strength, and even posture. For women in midlife, that translates into better health, less tension through the shoulders and upper back, and a greater sense of confidence in how we hold ourselves. And just 25 minutes of singing has been shown to lower inflammation markers, so singing isn't just expressive, it's anti-inflammatory. All of this research reminds us that music and singing, especially when shared, are powerful tools for connection, emotional regulation, and longevity. They nourish the science and they nourish the soul. Which brings me to today's guest. Teri Bond lives at a fascinating intersection: leadership and creativity, strategy and soul, voice and visibility. Her passion for music isn't just about sound, it's about connection, vitality, and helping her fellow singers as well as herself reclaim parts of themselves that make life feel full and alive. Teri didn't grow up performing. She came to singing later in life, inspired in part by cheering her son as a performer, and discovered a powerful new way to express herself. Research shows that singing a musical performance later in life strengthens the brain, regulates the nervous system, and builds confidence through embodied presence. Creative expression, especially when involved with voice and storytelling, supports emotional resilience and helps us feel more alive. By day, Teri is a respected PR and communications professional for arts nonprofits. By night, she captivates audiences with jazz, blues, and standards from the Great American Songbook. Songs full of humor, heart, and story. I'm so delighted to welcome my friend Teri Bond. Teri, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Dvora. It's great to be here.
As you know, we're scrappy. So, yeah, I did have a few speaking errors, and I noticed I had some issues with my breathing and my pacing, which you could probably help me with as a singer. I have to remember to take a breath.
We all do, right? Yeah.
In fact, I think that's a really good place to start because, as you know, since we've worked together, I always start with us taking a few breaths. And when I talk about breathing and breath, how does that factor into singing for you as a performer and as a singer?
It's everything. You really can't make sound unless you have the support and enough air to push it out or, hit the notes. And I've heard people who coach Broadway actors who sing 8 shows a week. If they're in a musical, they've talked about the advantages of yoga and the breathing that helps you and your body and your muscle. There's many layers to singing, making sounds. But yes, the breathing is key. And if you're not relaxed, you're not going to have fun. You're going to be too uptight or tense. So, yes, it's absolutely key.
That I love that you mentioned yoga because in the yoga program I do online, which is called Subtle Yoga, she does a lot of pranayama, and I know that's the breath work. So we know the more we practice something, the more we're familiar with it, and it becomes part of what we can do more automatically. It's definitely a part of what helps our nervous system and our health. Teri, the truth is that we've known each other for a very long time. We grew up together and we went to the same elementary school. But can you speak to when you started getting involved in singing and performing?
Well, I loved music and singing as a kid. And at that same elementary school, I was in a choir. I know I performed on that auditorium stage at least once, but I didn't stick with it. I pursued other arts like dance and ceramics and a little bit of everything without really being all that good at any one thing. Even piano, which now I wish I had stayed with piano, but I can start again and take lessons, and I will. It was when my son Zane had gone to school and he loved music almost like from the moment he was born. Music, dancing, acting. I mean, he was in a tap dance class at age 2. We have his tap dance shoes. They're so cute. And so he was a natural and loved it, and we supported it. And it was all about getting friends and family to see his shows and all the way up through high school. And then he graduated high school and left for New York to go to a conservatory there. And I had dabbled a little bit in choir singing, and that was great, great for my musical muscles and learning to sing with others, the joy of singing with others. I learned just so much from the choir director and my other fellow choir members. But I had this ache to try to sing solo. And I knew I had a lot to learn, but I said, I want to try that. Also, because it scared me at the time. It was, I thought, solo, wow. But, I think it was the time frame where your child goes off to college and then there's an opening. It's like an open window or a door. It says, well, or I heard the message was, what am I going to do? What what do I do now with the time that I dedicated to raising a child? So I hired a voice coach and started working on it. And then it became like an entire community, another world that has become really important to my life.
Oh, so in your personal life, you really reinvented yourself. You had this opportunity, like you're describing, where You were shifting from full-time mom with kid at home, right? And then he goes away to college, and you, like you said, you had this opening and you stepped into a new space. You created this opportunity for yourself to develop and evolve. When you're singing in a choir, you can blend in and you can't necessarily hear each specific singer, but to go off and do solo, that takes a lot of bravery and vulnerability.
Oh my God. Yes, it did. It did. Yeah. The whole point of a choir, you are supposed to blend. You don't want to stand out unless you're doing an isolated solo in a choir performance. So it was scary, but I was drawn to that because it felt like a challenge. Like it seemed like a natural part of that transition, that there was going to be some fear, but that I needed to walk through it anyways. And when you start finding your mentor, your community support system, it's all revealed, or it was for me, where I met people. I just thanked somebody last night at a singing event thanked him for all the wisdom that he passed along to me over the years. And because I think that's what we all really want to do, is share the wisdom that we've gained at any age. And if you're connecting with others in a community about a shared passion, then it's bound to happen. So I guess I felt safer even with the fear of being vulnerable and standing up there. And I look at photos from my earlier days and I think, wow, she looks afraid. I'm clutching the microphone with two hands and my eyes look kind of like deer in the headlight kind of thing. But
So, how did you feel in those early years of doing that? When you look at the pictures and you think that you look afraid, do you remember feeling that way, or were you feeling excited?
kind of a blend, a mix of excitement, but there's always that adrenaline rush. But the practice, the rehearsal, working with a teacher or a coach, that that builds some confidence. And it depends on the room. I think what I've learned over the years is that how to get through a song, even if it doesn't go the way I had planned, but get through it gracefully and still end on a high note and take a bow and connect even on that level, that here I am, maybe I screwed up somewhere along the journey of the song, but I'm still having fun. And therefore, you in the audience, you can don't cringe for me. You don't have to cringe because I made a mistake. It's like I did it and I continued on and I made it through, because I've seen other people have real train wrecks on stage. And that's where I've learned what not to do. So, yeah,
Well,
it's the scrappy
when
part.
you're sharing all this, when you're sharing this, clearly you doing this singing in this time in your life. First, you were doing it as a part of a choral group, right? And you had the connection with your fellow singers and with your choral leader, maybe vocal teachers. And I think when you're in a choir, you don't have as much audience interaction. But then you decided to go solo, and that brought your connection with a whole new level of connection. You're connecting with whoever is your instrumentalists, right?
Correct. Yes.
And you're connecting with your audience. And I know you're part of a group that supports each other, and you go to be each other's audience and support each other. So, can you talk about the connection with your audience and the connection with your fellow singers?
It's everything. And, it's not a performance unless you have an audience. And I know there's a lot of content we can create online, and you can sing and record and then share it on YouTube. And a lot of singers found audiences during the pandemic doing that. But
Hmm.
live exchange of energy and joy and the connection while you're telling the story, the reaction from an audience, the laughter, there's nothing like it. And the other thing I was reminded of, I went to a ballet performance, a new wave ballet recently called Stripped in LA. And the creator director told us in the room that night before the show started, this performance in this space right now in this moment will never happen again. This is the one and only time. And that's the beautiful thing about live theater, comedy, music. It's all
Hmm.
there in that room, and only the people lucky enough to be in that room will experience it with you. There's something really beautiful about that. So yeah, my friends in this community are everything, and they give me opportunities to sing. They help me meet new musicians, and they're teaching me constantly by what they do and how they approach it, how they get in touch with people to remind them about a performance. I mean, just having an audience is it's key. Like even just passing out postcards at the Gardenia in West Hollywood, when you see people, you need to give them a reminder that the online thing could get lost. But if you see a postcard, a physical reminder still works. I cherish the community.
One thing I'm curious about, if you've noticed, you have your PR job by day, right?
Yes, yes.
But when you're singing, you're using your voice in a different way, literally and figuratively. But I wonder how much your singing has informed your professional life. Have you noticed any development or changes in how you show up in the world in general as a result of your singing and vocal career?
I do. I do. I think there's something really powerful about taking that risk and being vulnerable in public. It's like you gain courage and confidence. I think there's less fear of anything new if you've conquered something like that. I think I'm more willing to try new things, take a risk, go deeper. It's okay to fall and get back up again. I mean, that's going to happen. We're human. It shows our humanness. I mean, I saw Sarah Bareilles at the Hollywood Bowl. She forgot some lyrics and she had somebody with her from the audience come up and guide her through the song.
It's a good thing they knew the words, right?
Right,
They knew the
right.
song.
It was amazing.
I think this is really relevant in our age group, women. We're in our 60s, but women 50 and above, because one of the issues really is that we can feel like we're becoming more invisible. And I would say you certainly don't feel invisible.
That word is kind of a touch point for me as a public relations professional because you are behind the scenes. In some
Mm.
cases, there's two sides to it. You could be like the ghost writer, you're the media trainer, you're prepping your CEO to be out there on the front lines or the president of your college. But then also, on the other hand, you might also be the media spokesperson and appear on television, and you need your own talking points. But a lot of it is I'm kind of the support system behind the star or the nonprofit organization that I represent. So it's using my voice in a different way. Definitely, you're more vulnerable, it's more emotional. You're talking about love and loss, sorrow, comedy, sex. And, these songs are such great stories. There's such a range of stories you can tell in a song. It's not like any PR client usually.
I've heard you sing some songs, and like you just described, it seems like the wisdom and maturity that you bring to the stage is so rich. My question is, do you experience any ageism, or do you feel like, on the contrary, where you are in life is adding richness to you as a performer?
Oh, definitely. We add richness as performers. We bring that history, that story, the drama, the highs and lows, and then you can convey that through the song or to your audience, and it's so much better. I make a point of telling everyone my age when I'm up there, if it's a birthday celebration or I'm proud to be 64 and I'm proud to say it out loud. I want to endorse aging. I'm pro aging. Yes, there's challenges, but we're lucky to be this age. And the more we shout it from the rooftops, on the microphone, in the spotlight, the better off we'll all be.
So I'm curious, are you going to be able to sing for us today?
Oh, that's right.
You don't have to, or we could include a clip of you in the show notes.
Yeah, let's do that.
When you're metaphorically speaking to other women our age, and we're trying to unite in our pro-aging philosophy and way of living, what can you say to support women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s in terms of if they feel like, oh, they're too old to start something new or to be creative? What advice and supportive words would you give a woman who expressed that in your presence?
It's never too late. And we need to take the leap. When you take the leap, the net will appear. I don't know who said that, but I love it. And it's true. It works because by taking the action, the community appear, it works when you put it out there, even talking about it, then taking the action, then sharing about it and sharing the success and the failure because that's life. But there's a beautiful, we'll link to it in the notes too. This never too late Broadway dancer. I think at 57 she decided to go back to New York and pursue the career as a dancer that she always dreamed of. And she's doing
Wow.
it. And I'm following her, and it's really inspirational because we need to take risks in life. I think it's got to be good for our brains, right? There's got to be some science to back that up, that if you try new things, learn new languages, and a language or an art form, anything we're learning, there's adrenaline, yes, but you're stretching your creative muscle and it's risk taking. Did I always think of myself as a risk taker? Not really. Especially in PR, it's like a very calculated profession. You plan your talking points and you plan for the crisis. You have your templates. You have a script as you move forward. So when you're on stage, you have to improvise or something happens, something goes wrong. It's a good practice for life in general.
You use the word improvise. That really encapsulates not knowing what's going to happen, the unpredictability of it. And that's what creates the vulnerability, but also the excitement, right?
Right, right. Like that night at the Hollywood Bowl, it was packed for Sarah Bareilles, and she made it work. She got through the song. She got help.
I'm curious to know, do you practice a lot on your own? And when you do you have music that you like to sing by yourself to put you in a good mood?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm usually listening to the songs that I want to sing by other artists.
Mhm.
I really love Stella Cole right now. She's one of the singers who really found an audience during the pandemic, and she sings all standards, and it's just heavenly. I saw her live at Broad Stage in Santa Monica, and it was so good. And then Samara Joy has won a few Grammys already. She's coming to LA's Blue Note Hollywood. I have tickets for it. It's in April. She's incredible. I listened to a lot of Ella Fitzgerald and Dinah Washington and all the people who sing the Great American Songbook. I really need to practice every day to keep my voice in shape.
You do singing exercises to keep your
Yeah,
vocal cords. Yep.
vocalizing exercises, and yeah.
So speaking of improvisation, I'm sorry if I'm getting the term wrong, but because you do a lot of jazz singing, right?
Mhm.
Do you do that jazz? Is it called scat where you do
Adding,
that kind of
yeah,
stuff?
that is. It is. And
Yeah.
a lot of singers that I know are afraid to scat. So to me, that was a bit of like, oh, well, we got to try it, right? We got to try it. So I went to a class. I went to a few classes. In fact, one was called, it was a workshop online called Every Cat Can Scat. And then my friend Kathy Segal Garcia, she runs a scat lab where we just go to her house and practice and play scatting and just to get comfortable with it. So I have I have done some of that.
I imagine, even though this isn't your main career, your 9 to 5, that when you are doing this a lot, you get into this zone, into this flow where it's just, it's lovely. And you have all these endorphins and all those good things going on inside your body and your heart and your mind.
Yeah, there is a flow, and when you feel you've hit the right note, you have the support, the breath, the muscle, your core is helping you make that sound. It's helpful when somebody else is with you to really give you that important feedback. But yeah, it's a rush. It's an adrenaline rush for sure. It's very intimate when you're performing in a dark room and the lights are low. It's like my voice reaches you and maybe touches your heart, or you have some kind of emotional reaction. I guess it could be good or bad, but there's something that moved you. So yeah, it's therapeutic, really.
I
Oh,
really feel your desire to connect with your audience, whether or not you're going to actually get some feedback from them, that your gift to them, your gift of connection and inspiration and igniting something in them.
I did feel that way when I had a show and the whole room was filled with people who loved me from my life, from my work, from my college friends, my family. Zane came from New York to see it in LA, and it was such a high walking out and being greeted by that many
All your
people.
people. Yeah,
It's like,
that's
well,
great.
this is going to go great because I'm in a room with all these people who love me no matter what.
So I have a few more questions. Is there anything you do in terms of self-care? And I know that you really care about being healthy, but is there anything you do in particular to especially support your singing? You just mentioned how you have to use your core. Do you do core work? Do you do yoga? How do you eat or do you eat a certain way to support your singing? Or what health habits do you have that supports your singing?
I think since singing, I've become more energized to be committed to my fitness and classes that I really adore. There is a Pilates class. It's the Megaformer Legree process. It's like one of the hardest things I've ever done. It is focused on your core, and I've stuck with it now for about a year. I started going there last year. Yoga definitely helps. Everything, yeah, everything you do for your heart, your body, your core, eating. I've talked to other people in the music field, and we talk about eating clean and getting enough sleep. He's a doctor, actually. He's a pediatrician who treats patients during the day and comes and sings at night. But sometimes the show goes on and he opts out because he's got to get to bed. And I realized that's a great example. And we were talking about it, a group of us the other night. The timing, we've got to make some of these things, try to get them a little earlier in the evening or even daytime, brunch time performances, because it's just better overall. We're all going to live longer if we get the sleep we need, eat well, and go to your fitness
I
class.
think turning the scene, the jazz room scene, flipping it a little because we're used to thinking of it lasting way late into the night, into the morning hours with smoke-filled rooms. And maybe it still is like that in a lot of places, but it's an interesting philosophy to sing for longevity, right?
Yes, yes.
So, Terry, can you think of a song that you think women in their 60s should have on their Radiance playlist?
Radiance playlist. Oh my gosh.
Does any song come to mind when I say the word radiance?
Oh, the delightful, the lovely, delicious Cole Porter. Yeah.
Great, great.
Before I forget, because you were talking about singing and longevity, I have to mention Marilyn May. Marilyn May is in her 90s. She was just profiled on CBS News. Maybe we can link to that too. CBS Morning. She's been performing her whole life, and she's such a great example. I got to see her live too at the Catalina Jazz Club in LA. There are a lot of people in their 80s and 90s who inspire me. I believe it's crucial to living long and being joyful and doing what you love.
So here's my final question to you. What does sexy mean to you right now at this stage of life?
It means being fully alive and being present and living a life you love, doing what you love unabashedly. And when you do that, I think there's a power to that, power that makes us unstoppable. We're doing it because we want to do that song, that dance, dressing up in an outfit, or scaling a mountaintop. It's empowering to live with vitality and take the risks. It's life affirming. I think if you continue to do the same thing, and I've done that in a job for a while, it felt like I was doing the same job over and over and over again. It's life depleting. I want to live the best life, and that means doing it differently and looking at how I can live better, live differently, make better choices, be fully alive, take the risks. It's worth it.
It sounds like your singing career brings you so much joy, and literally being on that stage gives you the opportunity to live that sexy that you just described.
Yeah, it does. It does because you're singing a song, you're taking people on this journey, and it might be something we never talk about in person, like that song, Making Love Alone. that Bernadette Peters used to sing. I got to sing
I
that
think you
Birdland.
sing it better.
Oh, thank you, Dvora, my biggest fan. Yeah, that was a thrill singing that at Birdland in New York. In fact, if anybody's listening who wants to sing, you can go there and sign up at Birdland Jazz Club in New York, right in the heart of Broadway, the Broadway Theater District, and Times Square. And it's Monday nights. Anybody can go. It's like a talent show. They've had people tap dancing and puppetry, but it's mostly singers. And sometimes you get people from Broadway who sing. And Marilyn May sang there recently.
Is it just for fun, or do people go there to get discovered?
It might help your career. I think it does. I've heard of people getting discovered at karaoke bars.
If people want to find you or connect with you, how can they do that?
I'm on Instagram at Teri Bond Sings. I'm on YouTube at Teri Bond Sings. My LinkedIn is Teri Bond. Facebook, Teri Bond.
I'll put all those links in the show notes.
I think that's it. If you have a PR project and you need some input about how to amplify your story, your messages, happy to offer a 20-minute complimentary consultation with my partner at PH Collective. Jen Wang and I run PH Collective.
Has anybody ever hired you to sing at private events?
I did sing at a private event. It was more the opportunity to sing. It wasn't for pay, but that is a goal. I'd like to be paid.
So
Well, usually if somebody does pay, let's say you pay a cover charge to hear me at the Gardenia or any other venue, it's likely going back to the musicians, the pianist and the bass player. I mean, I do have friends who have done shows where they did walk away with a nice sum. So it means a little bit higher ticket price, but I think it's worth it. For Samara Joy, I mean, she's phenomenal and she's global now. I paid $80 for her ticket, but it's worth it. Supporting the arts.
It's a contribution that is a priority that we care about, is supporting the arts, right?
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Teri, for being a guest on Sexy in Your 60s. And I hope we can see you again and hear you sing.
Oh, absolutely. And I love what you're doing. And this was such a pleasure. Great to visit with you.
So fun. Thank you for spending this time with us. If today's episode resonated with you, I invite you to take the next gentle step by downloading the Sexy in Your 60s Starter Guide, a free resource designed to help you reflect on what supports your energy, vitality, and sense of connection in this season of life. You'll find it linked in the show notes, or you can download it at slant2plants.com/starter-guide. You can explore more of my work, including health coaching, plant-forward nutrition, and resources for vibrant living at slant2plants.com. And that 2 is the number 2. And join Sexy in Your 60s signature coaching experience at sexyinyour60s.com. If this episode spoke to you, please consider following the podcast, leaving a review, or sharing it with someone who might need it right now. That's how these conversations continue to grow. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and stay boldly, beautifully sexy, exactly as you are.